Hot temperatures and high winds are creating fire danger in 3 states today as Australia's bushfire emergency continues. The most present danger is currently in Victoria. Right now, 7 emergency warnings are in place for fires burning in the East Gippsland region, where a mass evacuation was ordered during the busy holiday period. Fires there will be fanned by today's soaring temperatures and intense wind gusts. There are 7 warnings which are affecting multiple towns in Gippsland. They are in and around the areas of Tamboon, Sugganbuggan, Walgamarang, Buchan, Reedy Flat, Ramrod Creek and Goongerra. Those fires have seen a mass evacuation of East Gippsland, with residents and tourists ordered to leave. As Andrea Crothers reports from Bairnsdale, it's an unprecedented evacuation order.
A mass evacuation of an unprecedented scale. 30,000 holidaymakers told to pack up and leave East Gippsland before it's too late. Most went willingly.
We know a lot of people have left, but at the same time we know there are still a lot of people, particularly in that coastal strip, places like Lakes Entrance. My message very much for today and this point in time is that you need to get out of there, particularly if you're in the forested areas, up in the parks. The parks have been closed, but if you've been able to get in there, you should not be in those areas.
Others relocated in nearby towns outside the danger zone while they worked out their next move.
Yes, it's definitely deterring people from text messages that have been sent out. Nobody knows what to do. So it's certainly put a lot of fear into people.
Oh, I think that would be certainly foolish to head into a zone that's fire prone or fire in existence. I guess we were caught in the Dun Alley bushfires back in 2013, so we know a bit about it and a bit of the precautions to take. So.
Fire is also on the move. Most crews have been pulled out of bushland because fire behaviour is simply too dangerous. 1,000 firefighters in strategically located strike teams instead turning their focus to protecting communities. A total fire ban is in place across Victoria as temperatures soar above 40 degrees and strong westerly winds fan the flames. A cool change is expected to pass across western and mountain areas of Victoria late this afternoon. Worryingly, dry thunderstorms could also bring lightning, which could spark more fires. The change is then expected to hit Melbourne around 8 o'clock tonight before clearing the rest of the state in the morning.
In the last hour, the Country Fire Authority provided an update on the Gippsland emergency from Bairnsdale. Here's the latest.
Today has been a very high fire danger day, and that fire intensity now that we're seeing this afternoon is starting to prove exactly what we've been saying, that it would in fact become very, very intense. We've got large column coming out of the Barmouth Spur fire and also out of the Elmy fire. They're actually pulling each other together, which is an interesting phenomenon. They're up to about 12 kilometres in height at this moment and already starting to drop ashes and embers down into the area from Buchan South down to Orbost and north of Now. So those communities will be need to be on high watch at the moment and putting their plans into action. We've also got significant fire behaviour at the fire that started last night down near Wingan Inlet, the banana track fire. That one's spreading quite rapidly as well out onto both the east and west sides of that fire. It's already burnt down to the coast, but it's continuing to burn quite aggressively through that coastal fuel and vegetation. One of the things that I'd like to say to people is that we have closed the highway from Genoa now down through to Lakes Entrance, the Princess Highway, and as a result of that, people may be wondering what in terms of movement, but what they really need to do is watch out for the messaging that's coming out of our team here. It's the most accurate and up-to-date information. It will tell you the warning that you need, whether it's a watch and act or an emergency warning. And I'm saying to the community here now, they really need to be watching those messages and listening to them and taking the action that's described in those messages. That's the best way that they can keep themselves safe as we move through this afternoon, where the intensity is only going to increase over the next few hours before we start to get into the evening.
What kind of towns are the most affected at the moment, if that's in terms of embers or how close the fires are? Can you tell us any structures that may look to be impacted?
Yes, okay. Look, we've got Bruthen has got some fire activity close to Bruthen. They're under an emergency warning. We're watching that. Wollgoomerang and Glanapy up to the north. We've got new fires that started last night are burning down onto those communities at the moment with some intensity. They may well come right down to Buchan South. We've got Goonga has already been evacuated, and we've got the coastal strip, I guess, from Tamboon across through to Mallacoota, with Mallacoota itself at the moment being put on high alert to watch for the movement of this fire down at Wingan.
You say the intensity is only going to worsen over the next few hours, and what kind of worsening are we looking at?
Well, what we'll see over the next few hours is more of these spot fires developing and more of them running down towards the southeast with the northwesterly wind behind them. So we will see some further runs of fire quite some distance as we go through the afternoon.
You said Gippsland has already been evacuated, but some people have remained. Do you know if the fire has actually directly impacted on that village yet?
I don't know that at this moment, so whether it has impacted on Goonga itself at this moment, no.
How are you going in terms of getting a view of the fires? I understand it's becoming so hot that some of the smaller helicopters are having difficulty even just taking off. How are you actually able to assess the scale and size of the fire at this stage?
Look, currently all of our aircraft are flying, so we're using them as we need to use them. We'll keep monitoring. If it does get too risky, then we'll sit them down. But at this stage, they're all flying. And other than that, we have a line scan that we can use, and otherwise it's ground truthing.
Sorry, what's a line scan?
It's an aircraft that flies up at 20,000 feet, and it can use infrared technology to outline the fire for us.
What size is the fire now? All the fire?
Look, I really don't know at the moment because some of our new ones that started last night have now spread very rapidly. The Barmouth fern tree fire is now in the vicinity of 110,000, and the other fires are growing as we speak. So we'll be monitoring them as things settle down through the afternoon in terms of size.
Safe to say hundreds of thousands of hectares burning?
It would be safe to say probably 200,000 in the vicinity, and that'll be growing as we go through the afternoon.
An emergency warning has just been issued for a fire in New South Wales. We'll go live now to Julia Bradley at the Rural Fire Service headquarters in Sydney. Julia, what's the latest?
Well, an emergency warning, it has just been issued for Duns Road in the Snowy Valleys region. That's in the southeast of New South Wales. We are hearing that if you are in the area of Yaven Creek Road and Ellerslie Road, it's now too late to leave. And the advice to residents there is to shelter as the fire approaches. Now, we've also got a number of Watch and Act warnings in place in that vicinity for the Clyde Mountain Fire, Badger Road, Forest Road fire, that area, as well as Big Bellamber Creek. And the big fear from authorities here is that some of those fast-moving blazes could start to threaten properties in the area. So we'll watch and see on that one. As we know, we've got an extreme heat wave bearing down on the southeast of New South Wales. We've got widespread, very high fire danger and severe fire danger in our south. And the big fear is, of course, that conditions are set to deteriorate even further come tomorrow. We're going to see even stronger winds coupled with that dry, searing hot temperatures. It could start to wreak havoc further on our fire grounds. So we will be keeping a close eye on those blazes. And of course, the question on everyone's lips now is what is going to happen for New Year's Eve. We've seen a whole bunch of politicians weigh in and give their thoughts on whether it should go ahead. At the moment, we're seeing our fire authorities meet and wait for a last-minute crucial weather update that will be the deciding factor as to the total fire bans and the firework exemptions for tomorrow. We've seen the Deputy New South Wales Premier John Barilaro. He came out this morning on Twitter. He said that he thinks the Sydney New Year's Eve fireworks should just be cancelled. Very easy decision, he said on Twitter. The risk is too high and we must respect our exhausted RFS volunteers. So we've also heard from City of Sydney Councillor Christine Forster. She said that the show must go on due to economic value.
My view, on balance, is that the fireworks should go ahead. They've been more than a year in the planning at a total cost of between $6 and $7 million. The whole event brings a substantial amount of money. It's been estimated, I know, at about $130 million into the city.
So some dangerous conditions ahead, but the latest word is that the fireworks are set to go ahead on Sydney Harbour. At the moment, we've got about 10 total fire bans in place across the state, taking in the Greater Sydney, Illawarra, Shoalhaven regions, as well as Greater Hunter.
Thanks for the update, Julia. We'll check in with you again shortly. Now, air quality in parts of Sydney's southwest is almost 4 times the hazardous level as a smoke haze lingers over the city. Eliza Edwards is in Penrith. Eliza, residents there are heading down to the water to beat the heat.
That's right, Christy. Penrith locals don't need to head all the way to the coast to beat the heat. They're here having a dip in the Nepean River to cool off as the mercury reaches 37.7 degrees here. Not quite the 40 degrees as expected yet, but you can see behind me the smoke haze that's blanketing this area is preventing some of that heat and direct sunlight from getting through. But the air quality in this area has been very poor over the past couple of days. Today it reached almost 5 times the hazardous level in some suburbs in the city's south and northwest, but the Bureau of Meteorology warns that it's going to get worse tomorrow as the smoke haze moves east towards the city on New Year's Eve, meaning that the smoke haze could be hanging around for tomorrow night's celebrations.
With so many fires out there, smoke and reduced air quality due to smoke is going to be an issue tomorrow. So a lot of southern New South Wales is already being affected by smoke, depending on whether you're upstream or downstream of the fires. For East and Western Sydney, seeing some reduced air quality over several days now. We're expecting that smoke to move eastwards towards the coast tomorrow.
Of course, Christy, what these residents really need is a good drenching for this smoke haze to dissipate. I spoke to some of the residents around here who say they can't believe how long it's sticking around.
Oh, desperately, we need, let it rain, let it go. Yeah, we do. We desperately need rain, yes, absolutely.
Most of the time we don't even see the sun.
Oh, I can't remember a day that there hasn't been smoke, right? Like before Christmas now, so, but you still just got to live your life and get out here and try and enjoy it and not let it get to you, but yeah.
While the state's sweltering through today's heat, the mercury is set to rise even higher tomorrow. In Penrith on New Year's Eve, the forecast temperature is 44 degrees. Christy?
Everyone will be wanting to get a spot down by the river tomorrow for sure. Thanks, Eliza. South Australian firefighters are battling dozens of new blazes in catastrophic conditions. As Emily Burley explains, heat and strong winds are challenging weary crews.
Around 50 fires are burning across the state, many starting in Monday's dangerous conditions. Others, including the Cuddly Creek fire that destroyed 87 homes and claimed 1 life, have been burning for 10 days. Catastrophic fire danger was issued for Mount Lofty Ranges, Mid-North and York Peninsula, while the rest of the state experienced severe or extreme fire danger. Crews responded to blazes threatening properties on York Peninsula and Kangaroo Island, many growing tired, having been on the ground since before Christmas.
It's already arduous for the firefighters on the ground. They're enduring the same high temperatures we all are, but they're rushing to an emergency incident dressed up in protective clothing. So they're already suffering some heat stresses before they start working. So the conditions are remarkably difficult. If you add to that the lack of visibility that's accompanied with these fires, the choking smoke, it's horrendous conditions that our firefighters work in, and it's testament to their heroism that they perform so well.
South Australia is at the end of its heat wave with a cool change forecast late on Monday. But that could bring thunderstorms, with firefighters fearing further lightning strikes.
Tasmania won't escape the conditions bearing down across the country with extreme heat forecast. Temperatures are tipped to reach into the 40s in some parts of the state. Communities in the southeast are on high alert for dangerous bushfire activity. 12,000 Falls Festival campers at Marion Bay have already been told to prepare for immediate evacuation.